Two of my favorite semiconductor companies, Nvidia and AMD, have seen some recent updates. First, we're going to start off with Nvidia. They did have an update on them planning to sell the H100 to restricted places like China, which can help overall boost revenue. Second, AMD, I am seeing their products entering a new market that I didn't think of, and it makes perfect sense. And it is kind of dealing a little bit with this AI hype, so I think it might be good for AMD investors to know. So let's get started. So we can see Nvidia right now is doing amazing. Year to date is up roughly 87%. Today, though, the market is closed and the stock pulled back a bit, down 1.5%. But in the past 5 days, the stock has done amazing during their GTC events. So for those that are not familiar, Nvidia is unable to send certain graphics, certain accelerators or certain technology to China due to regulations. And these regulations are usually bypassed by Nvidia either tweaking down or making their cards or their products a little bit weaker to kind of bypass those restrictions, right? To make it be compliance safe. They did it with the A100 and they released the A800. Now with Nvidia's kind of core product, the H100, it seems like they're doing the same thing, and they're going to create the H800, which is meant to be able to conform to export rules and also be able to sell to Chinese clients. So obviously this is a great move for them to kind of overall help boost their revenue in China. Right now we have seen that the Chinese data center market has been a bit weak, but hopefully that could return, and it obviously means great news for Nvidia in forms of revenue. The only thing I would have to say is maybe as an investor, some investors might be worried that, hey, if their tweaks or their downgrades are really passing regulations, I'm pretty sure everyone's looking at it, but I do have a fear that something might come up in the future. I want to say this fear is very, very low, but in the company world, in the money world, anything is a possibility. But it does seem like they are kind of producing more solutions for China to kind of bypass those export rules. So again, the risk that I mentioned is not something I lose sleep at night, but I always believe there's always a probability for something to happen. I would put that in the low probability, but something I always have in the back of my mind. Now, the second company I want to take a closer look at is AMD. And we can see AMD, not like Nvidia, hasn't run up that much. Year to date, the stock is up 53%. It does seem like it's the year of semiconductors, or at least a quarter of semiconductors. I don't know if we will be able to continue with these returns. I highly doubt it, but the market is crazy. In the past day, though, the stock is down roughly 2.3%. It does seem like semiconductors did pull back a little bit, except Intel that I'm looking at my right was actually up for the day. But in the past 5 days, we can see AMD was at least up 1%. Before we go any further, I want to thank you for watching, and I need your help to reach my goal of 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you can do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and thumbs up. Also, if you want some fantastic insight into the semiconductor industry, join my other channel, Semiconductor Investing and More, where I use my electrical engineering background to break down the semiconductor market. Finally, I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for their subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode. So this is what caught my attention. So right now we are seeing this huge hype of AI, and with this AI hype, we are seeing an increase in like server sales and an increase expectations that can help data center market. And these data center servers and these high performing servers tend to be very, very expensive. But we can see Gigabyte, they do kind of create a lot of equipment and put things together. They create servers. They are announcing an entry-level AMD Ryzen-based server by Gigabyte. And this is a consumer CPU platform with enterprise features. So let's say maybe there might be a small company, a small business that doesn't need the huge computational power from some of these crazy AI servers. You are able to kind of buy a lot of consumer products. And the great thing is consumer products are now becoming super strong, that you can kind of get a little bit stronger platform and rise to that challenge of AI and some of these other workloads that are needed. So I thought that's pretty cool because Gigabyte mentions the line that separated data centers from personal users is not so clear because modern desktop processors have a respectable CPU core count and impressive multi-threading capabilities. So again, we usually think about these Ryzen processors as a consumer-only based product, and we think about the EPYC processors as their data center only product. What we can see with these kind of entry level servers for the enterprise market, it does kind of give a new solution to AMD's consumer products. So I think that's pretty impressive. Obviously, the same would happen to Intel's kind of consumer products as well. But it does seem like we're at least, like they mentioned, that line between data centers and consumer, at least for entry level, is dwindling and is becoming less clear. Outside of this, if we take a closer look, they did kind of share some information that has other news outlets kind of wondering if AMD is going to release a new processor later this year. They do mention that the next generation of AMD Ryzen desktop processors that will come out later this year will also be supported on this A5 platform. So customers who purchase these servers today have the opportunity to upgrade to the Ryzen 7000 series successor. So that's the great thing about AMD's platform is they tend to use this platform for at least 4 to 5 years. So they are saying, hey, even if you buy this server now, a year from now, 2 years from now, if you're planning on upgrading it, you can just kind of upgrade that CPU and kind of benefit with the upgrade without purchasing a new server. So I did see kind of reports that maybe people are wondering if the Ryzen 8000 series is coming a lot sooner than expected. I don't know if that's the case. We haven't heard too much from AMD. What I believe is most likely the case is this that we saw earlier this year or late last year, where AMD is going to release their Threadripper for the 7000 series. Those are usually the high tier products on their consumer-based market. And I do believe that could go really, really well with this kind of market of entry-level server processors. So I'm really liking this a lot. I don't believe it's a huge market mover for either stock, any of these newses, but it does kind of help boost their future revenue outlook and just provides another business where it can help them with the downturn. Right here, it gives their consumer products another kind of market when the consumer market tends to be weak, like we're seeing right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.